What's up, family? It is Caden with Urban Finance. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you what I believe to be the hottest list of IPOs for 2020. Now, there's usually a lot of hype around IPOs, which are initial public offerings. And one of the reasons is because if you pick the right stock, you can be rewarded handsomely. But just because a company that is very popular is coming out with an IPO or issuing stock does not mean that it's a good buy. And so you really have to be careful with IPOs as well. But if you do pick the right company, then you can be rewarded handsomely. And that is why people love IPOs. Now, I am not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. And just a general YouTube disclaimer, everything I do here is for entertainment purposes only. And so I currently do most of my single stock investing through Robinhood. And if you want to sign up for Robinhood, there's definitely going to be a link in the description below. And if you sign up, we both get a free stock. So it is a win-win. Just as an example of how rewarding IPOs can be, if you invested in Amazon in 1997 when they IPO'd and you invested just $1,000, that will be worth today $1.5 million. Yes, you can be a millionaire just over $1,000 invested in Amazon. Now, that is obviously 30 years, so a pretty long time for someone to hold a stock. A lot of people are impatient and honestly don't usually hold stocks for that long. But if you did, you will be rewarded handsomely. Another great example is Tesla. Now, if you invested in Tesla back in June of 2010 at about $17, I believe, just $1,000 investments would have earned you $100,000 today. And so that's $100,000 just over 10 years. That's a 10,000% return by investing in Tesla. Now, Tesla has been doing some amazing things stock-wise recently, and so that's why it had such a gain. And it's really hard to pick winners like that out of the gate, but you can see why it's so appealing in order to invest in IPOs. Because if you pick the right company, you don't need a lot of money to make a lot of money. So we're going to be talking about in this video 5 IPOs that I really like that I think have good potential. Some seasoned investors stray away from IPOs because for every Amazon or Tesla, there are probably 100 to 1,000 other companies that IPO that did not live up to their hype. For example, let's say I was someone that purchased Twitter back in 2013 when it came up. Not saying that I did. Okay, maybe I did. But when I purchased that stock, if I had kept it till this very date, I would be negative on Twitter, even if I was dollar cost averaging into the company, most likely. Back then, I was actually primarily doing day trading, so I did not keep Twitter for that long, but that would have not made me much money. And I invested in it pretty much around the IPO time. And so that's an example of a company that would not have been worth holding all of this time. And so sometimes it may be worth it to wait a little while to see how a company does before investing in it. And that's what I'll probably be doing with this list of IPOs. But I really like a lot of the companies that are on this list. So here they are. The first company, the first IPO on our list, actually IPO'd already on August 6th, and it is Rocket Companies. Now, this company holds companies like Quicken Loans, Rocket Mortgage, Rocket Autos. I think that's the name of it. I'll probably put a list of the holding companies up on the screen for you to see. So far, Rocket Company have been performing well during the pandemic, and I believe they're positioning themselves to be very strong online. And you'll probably see that with Quicken Loans as well. They have a very strong online presence. And I think this is going to make a huge difference as Rona continue to persist for the next few years. And so I am looking at this company as one to purchase. I'm putting it on my short list of companies that I really like for 2020. The second company, and this one has a speculative IPO for 2020. And so there's no guarantee that this company is actually going to IPO, but there are some rumors that this company is going to IPO. So it's something that I'm keeping a very close eye on, but that it is Robinhood. Oh, I would love to see a Robinhood IPO, and I may snatch up a few shares of this company as soon as it comes out. Now, I'm not someone that really tries to jump on IPOs as soon as it comes out, but I think Robinhood is a company that will probably do very well, at least on the short term, so for a year to 2. And so Robinhood, as you know, is a financial service company, like I said, and they are known as the company that offers no fees in order to do trading. In addition to not offering any fees, they actually give give you a bonus if you sign up using my link below. Robinhood, I think, is positioned really well as a company that is going to serve millennials and Gen Z in the future. There are some kinks that they will have to work out with their overall platforms. And in an absence of making commission, they do have some controversial practices like payment overflow, where they pretty much sell bulks of customers' orders to other companies so that they can kind of profit about it. But that's not what I'm getting into in this thing. But I do like Robinhood as an IPO, but they do have some stuff to work on, certainly. So the next company on the list is Airbnb, and Airbnb has already filed for a private IPO, and so we will probably be hearing more news about this. They may IPO in Q4 of this year, so we'll see. The only thing that I don't like about Airbnb on the short term is that their market was devastated by this pandemic, and this IPO may be a way for them to raise some capital. And that means the company is probably not in the strongest financial position right now. But I do like Airbnb as a long-term hold, but I'll probably wait to see a few of their balance sheets before I even consider putting my money into this company. The next two companies that are filing IPOs are actually positioned really well for the pandemic, in my estimation. And so first company is Doordash. Now, Doordash is the largest food delivery service company. I believe Uber may be following right after them. And so as you may know, because you have probably been increasing your orders of food through companies like this, DoorDash is perfectly positioned for this pandemic. And so they have seen a surge of sales. So their expected IPO is probably in the fourth quarter, maybe November and December. And so this may be another company that shoots up when the IPO, just because the pandemic is very beneficial to them right now, to be quite frankly. Now, the next company that I think is positioned well that plans to do an IPO is Instacart. Now, Instacart is primarily a grocery store delivery services. So they pick up the groceries and they deliver it. And I'm very familiar with Instacart because I actually was doing this before the pandemic hits. Yes, I actually did Instacart through Swagbucks because I got $75 on Swagbucks to sign up for Instacart, but I had to do a few orders. And I actually plan to continue to do Instacart because I just love working, to be honest, and making money anywhere I can. But obviously the pandemic hit and I don't really have a real need in order to make money from Instacart, so I stopped doing it. But it is a company that is positioned well for this pandemic, especially as elderly people may not be able to go to the supermarket. People that are concerned about their children at home may not want to go to the supermarket. And so Instacart is a company that is positioned well for the pandemic. The other thing about Instacart is that they're trying to move away just from grocery store deliveries and probably get into the food deliveries as well. We will see how they try to change their position, but this is another company that is doing an IPO that I will be keeping a very close eye on. And so those are the 5 companies that I'm really watching for their IPO dates. And like I said, Rocket Company's already IPO'd, so we know that company is out there, and I'm watching to see how that company does. Then we have Robinhood, which is pretty speculative. We don't have a firm confirmation that they filed for a private offering or anything of the sort, so we'll see what happens there. But then we have companies that are a little more certain to IPO this year, like Instacart, Airbnb, and Doordash. And so I'll be looking out to see. And those companies, like I said, are positioned well for this current pandemic. And in my next video that I'll be doing, I'll most likely be doing a video about my strategy for investing in stocks going forward. And so I will talk about how a company like Instacart or DoorDash may fall into my portfolio to diversify it. Even Rocket Company is something that I'm really interested in, but may or may not pick up anytime soon. All right, family, this is Katie with Urban Finance. If you haven't already, please smash the like button so YouTube shares this video with someone else. That will really help the channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of when I post something new. And like I always said, even in the midst of these crazy times, make sure you're still living your best life.